Aquí Daniel Zambrano, me estoy alisando para salir a correr y simplemente en esta ocasión entrevisté a una persona de Boston, se llama Eddie, tiene 28 años y tiene un canal excelente de motivación, lastimosamente está en inglés. Y básicamente lo que puedes aprender en esta entrevista es una cosa: cómo confiar más en ti, cómo creer más en ti. Y eso es lo que él nos explica. Lastimosamente solo hablamos en inglés. Yo no tengo una excelente pronunciación, así que no esperes mucho de mi parte en ese aspecto. Y pusimos una traducción en español para ti, para que la leas. Eddie es la persona que crea este tipo de videos. Tiene un excelente canal. Vas a encontrar toda la descripción todos los enlaces en la descripción de este video. Espero que tomes nota y bueno, a mí me encantó, espero que a ti te encante. Se demora como 45 minutos, 50 minutos el video. Yo salgo a trotar y ahorita nos vemos. Chao.
This thing is for the people on my channel.
Do I have what? I'm sorry? 28. 28. Just turned 28. Yeah. Old man now. So.
Old man. And you're working in this, or you have a part-time job, or what, man?
So this has become my full-time job.
Nice.
That's
your passionate job. Your dream job.
Yeah, man, I like it. I like it. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you excited when you wake up every day, and that's pretty much all you can ask for, you know. So
yeah, man.
No complaints on this end.
And how much when you can make this? When you can live through this, teaching others motivation full time? When 27 years old?
Yeah. So basically, it's sort of, it wasn't the intent originally. So it was something I did on the side that I enjoyed doing. You know, I kind of almost like a diary. Like, it was just fun to kind of put my thoughts down. I liked writing music, so I'd put them together and I'd put it out. And I ended up really enjoying it, and it seemed to get a very good reaction. You know, people expressed that it brought value to their day-to-day. So from there, it kind of evolved, and that's where it took off on the business. But I love doing it. I feel very lucky to be able to. So.
Cool, man! Wow. And I remember when you launched your first video or your second one. And it was an early time, and I watched it as I hear, and it was different because the other motivational videos in English are people yelling and screaming a lot, but I really like that you are just like a more confident with your telling and not screaming the other person and giving a real message, and that is the cool stuff because I thought that is new. That is the thing which he's doing is new, and I saw your channel and it's like a it's rocket.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting, man. And thank you. I appreciate that. It's funny. It's one of the first things you notice, right? When you go and you put in or you look for motivational stuff on the internet. It's a lot of screaming, you can do it, which is good. I mean, when you're going, before a game or something, that's what you need. There's a time and a place for it. But I thought there was an opportunity to be more philosophical in terms of motivating, and like you said, it seemed to have a good reaction. So.
Wow. So you started like a personal diary, not expected anything from that, or just doing?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, so it was just sort of a, like, I want to say hobby. Like, the first few videos I put out, I just thought it was cool. I showed my parents. I'm like, I showed my friends. I'm like, check this out. I listen to this. Because I left the corporate world about a year and a half, to pursue some entrepreneurial projects, right? And the first thing that hit me is like, this is hard. This is scary as hell, because you don't have that, like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't have that safety net. And so I would find myself kind of, telling myself these things or playing these loops in my head that kind of helped me man up and get through what I needed to get through and do what I needed to do. So I started to write that out and put that down on paper and eventually into videos. And that's, that's kind of how it initiated.
Wow, man. How many years do you live in the corporate world? Uh,
Um, about four. After I graduated from college, I went right.
24?
Four,
24.
yeah.
Wow, man. And what was your job, basically?
I worked in insurance, specifically in sort of a training consultant role. But it was part of the benefits of being in a situation like that is that wasn't the only thing I did. You can kind of bounce around a lot and see a lot of things. And it's funny looking back now. Um, I have friends that love corporate America, people that thrive on it, people that crush it.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't my thing, right? I would go to work and I'd be like, this is, I don't give a shit, or sorry, I don't care about
Fine,
what I'm doing. And, it's more important to me than money, which sounds cliche, but like, I want to feel like I'm doing something with my life, And so that's kind of, at a certain point, you have to kind of cut the cord. And so, yeah, that's where I took a different road there.
Wow. How you make that decision? So, just like that, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and.
Pretty much. I mean, so it's something that obviously I didn't wake up one morning and realize that, I wanted to do something different. It was sort of a process that evolved over some time. And I was, like this stuff that I have in my studio, I was kind of acquiring it little by little, kind of getting ready to make that move. And then the time came when it came, and I just, opted to go that route.
Oh man. I think that it could be very scary. 24 years with the same routine, and you make this other thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always scary when you're doing something that you don't know the outcome. Like, I know if just like everyone, that's been doing a certain job for a certain amount of time, they know how the day's going to start. They know how it's going to end. And that's fun. There's comfort in that, really. And it's, depending on what your priorities are, it can be a healthy thing. But nothing amazing is going to happen by being in this sort of cyclical, routine. So it was worth it,
Hey, what about your family, man? People say things, and it could be hard. Even with the family. What about that thing?
Yeah, they're very supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost surprised me, right? Just because it was such, at least from my perspective, a drastic kind of change. But they've always been that way my whole life. They've always been very supportive, amazing people, and. Yeah, they just said, all right, this is what you want to do. Go for it. So, and that helps. It helps to have, people you can lean on for advice and have a conversation with and know that no matter what happens, on my end, stuff goes wrong. I always have people there that support me. So I feel very lucky that that's the case.
Oh, man, but I really don't understand one thing. In this time, currently I study and I do my thing in the internet, but I hear that people this job and started to doing things on the internet, and there's when have some amount of followers or products, they make the jump. But I understand that you just make the jump and you started to produce.
Right. Because, so, like I said, this wasn't like I didn't make the jump to make motivational videos or to motivate. I had other projects that I wanted to do involving music, involving a book, like certain things that I wanted to, focus on. And then, like I said, like as I was going through that process, kind of writing down these things on the side, creating your world within, is kind of like something to lean on for myself. I started to like that, and I started to gravitate towards that. And before you know it, right, that ends up being my jam. You know, that's what I love to do, and that's kind of, yeah, the path I've gone down.
Wow, what it feels, because for most people, or for me, sometimes I'm feeling that I'm not doing the thing which I want, and I want to know how is your life, or how do you feel when you wake up, hey, I'm going to do this which I love. It's not one thing.
Yeah, it's certainly a different feeling. I think the most important thing for me is knowing that you get out what you put in, right? I mean, I no longer have a boss per se. And so theoretically, I could sit on my ass, I could sleep till 3, watch TV, and no one's going to say anything, but you just don't get the results when you do that. And I think there's such a thrill, so much fun in being able to hustle and being able to create your own destiny. Like, if you make certain contacts, you network, you innovate, you create a video that, is maybe new, maybe controversial, and then throw it out there, and you can just see the ripple effect, see what you create, and it's so fun. But there are times, when it's not. Like, I was just talking about this the other day. I was in my studio creating, just sometimes things flow, sometimes they don't. So I was writing music and creating a script, and it took me like 2 days. I was sitting in this room for 2 days, and I'm like, this isn't better than an office. You know what I mean? So there's times when it's ups and downs like everything, but for me, mostly that freedom and that ability to do what you want, is huge.
Right. And what about your voice? The effect in your videos with the voices, you make a touch like a movie trailer, I don't know what is it. I want to know, is a mic or it's a software in the computer, because it sounds very nice.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's just a condenser mic, and I put it through Pro Tools, and just do basic audio. Like, I compress it and add some reverb to give it that. I think that's what you're referring to, like the space kind of like powerful effect on it. So yeah, that's a big part of it. You can do all of that with the Pro Tools program.
So I listen that you are a sport, that you make a lot of workout, and you are a musician, and also you make motivational videos. A lot of things, man. A lot of things. So I want to know, it's funny because you started your project inside of you. It was for you, no?
Yeah.
And the people just started to watch the videos just like that. It's very impressive.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and it's funny from a business standpoint, right? Because to your point, some of my videos do have kind of an element of sports. Some are more career oriented. They're kind of all over the place, right? And I know that normally when you have a niche, like, you want to focus on that niche, right? If you're running motivation, be a running motivation channel. That's gonna, who your audience is, etc. Yeah. And so that's, at first was like, well, what are you? That's the first thing you have to figure out. Because when your videos bounce around, you're playing to a very wide audience, which isn't always a great thing. But I realized that, like, to channel one thing or to focus solely on one thing isn't being true to myself, because there's a lot of things I enjoy. There's a lot of like, sometimes I want to talk about running, You know, sometimes the greatest lessons I've learned are while I'm running. Sometimes I want to talk about other things, more philosophical, more, you know, from a deeper perspective that have nothing to do on a surface level with sports. So I think, you know, being able to cover all of that, it helps me stay true to who I am. You know, anytime I have a thought, anytime I have a feeling or emotion, I'm comfortable with being able to throw it down and put it on paper without having to worry about who my audience is, and I like that. And there's like a glaring sun in my face. Sorry if that's...
No, it's fine. Here, it's fine, man. You say something very important for me here, man, because the thing is, be true. How do you say that? Truly to yourself?
Yeah, be true to yourself.
And that is very important because in many cases people do things just because they think that the money is there, like in a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I can realize that you are making just being true to yourself, because in internet, for instance, you have a lot of things to make money. Now, do you know that?
Yeah, I agree. And it's a balance. I mean, you have to be smart about it. But I've always believed that, you know, if you are true to yourself, if you're doing something you love to do, then you're going to do it well, and you're going to make damn sure that you're good at it. You know, and if you're good at something, if you've mastered something, then the money comes. You know, it's when you're trying to do something that you feel like you have to do, you know, whether your parents want you to, or, you know, whatever the reason is, it's hard to create something awesome. It's hard to create, period, if you feel like you have a gun to your head while you're working. It's just not, it's not productive. Yeah. So.
Well, many people just crush about the idea how to find the thing which they love, and many people just can't find what do you think about that? You find this, and what about the process finding this the reward within you? How do you do that? How can you realize that, say, this is a great stuff, I love this, I love doing this? How do you...
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because it sounds...
It's a big question. I know, but just ask him.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's funny because it does. It sounds nice theoretically, do what you love, but it's hard to really hone in on what it is, like what makes you tick, what makes you happy. And I don't know if there's a right answer. I know, you know, something I've come across, and this isn't a new thought process by any means, but a starting point is to think about, is there anything that you do that when you do it, time flies? Yeah. You know, you don't even realize that the clock's going by, because if there is, then that's probably a starting point. Maybe it's not that exactly, but there's some element of what you're doing that, you know, you enjoy, you find value in. So that would be, you know, my advice as far as a starting point.
When the time flies.
Yeah, man, when the time flies.
Cool, man. Wow. Another question here. When you saw where your channel is exploding, all these subscribers, it was a very short time. What do you think? You say, what do you think there? It's all.
It's exciting. I mean, it means everything to me in terms of being able to put stuff out that people enjoy. I mean, if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, you know, and to be able to have conversations with people at a one-on-one level. I mean, people send me emails. It's phenomenal, and I'm so thankful for it. The other side of that is when you're in something, you're in it deep, right? And so I've done well. You know, the channel has done well over the past, you know, few months. But in the greater context, there's motivational channels that have 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah, of course.
So for me to sit down and be like, Yeah, man, this is fantastic. It's really removing the greater picture. I think it's a great milestone. It's a benchmark, but it's not where I ultimately want to be. So good and bad, I'm blessed and I love it, and I really appreciate the support and the fact that people find value in the content, but still moving full speed ahead. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay, but you're very young, and what is what you want to be here? What you want to be? Or you say to me that you want to be an entrepreneur, but I think that you have an idea.
Yeah, man, you're asking these questions that I think about all the time. It's so like I was actually thinking about this the other day. What do you want to be? And I think it was Gary V that asked that one of his videos.
Gary, the podcast,
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah, I love him. He's awesome. But the reality is, I want to be someone that can evolve. Like, I want to always be able to put out what I want when I want, bring value to people, and not be like pinned down by this is what I am. Like if I feel like a book is going to get my point across and that's the direction I want to go, then for that project I want to be an author, right? If I feel like I want to do something else, if I want to produce something, I'll be a producer. But I don't ever want to be bound by one thing, which is I'm not really answering your question. It's kind of a evasive answer. But yeah, from an entrepreneur's perspective, I just want to do my thing, and I'm sure that'll change a million times and will mean something different down the road. But that's sort of my outlook.
Cool, man. Cool.
You're like, yeah, man, great.
No, because I make the same question for me. As I'm making these questions to you because I'm like in a similar situation. Yes, I'm making the questions which I have in my mind are every time. What do you have? What
YouTube channel, right?
My YouTube channel is my name, Daniel Zambrana. I talk about public speaking and expressing yourself and all those things. And what do you advise to a person who wants or is starting in YouTube?
Starting in YouTube?
Yeah.
Man. I think value. I think value is always the answer. And I learned this the hard way, right? Because I put out music for a while, and I think it was good. I think it was decent music, but it certainly didn't pick up like the work I'm doing now is. And I look back now, and it's like, all right, this is good, but you have to have a certain amount of. You have to be pragmatic about what you're putting out, because there's a fine line between being persistent, not giving up, and putting out something that brings value, right? You always have to make sure what you're producing, if you want it to blow up, if your goal is to, attract an audience, make sure that your work is worthy of an audience. You know what I mean? Like, do the people that you're giving it to will they find value in what you're putting out? I think that's the biggest question. And when you're confident about that, when you're passionate about what you do, you're putting out work that you truly feel is valuable, then it's the whole persistence thing, right? Because you're going to have, months and months where people aren't watching. Right? And that's when you start thinking, well, maybe it's not good enough. But if you know it's good enough and you're putting it out, weather that storm, because that's the tough part. Once that audience starts building, you reap the benefit pretty quickly. So
wow. Here, man, when I listen to your videos, the words or the sentences have a lot of content, have a lot of meaning. and it's not just mashing words around, just but these words have a message here. And I just want to ask you, how much time did you prepare this job to launch a video? How much work? How much time? Because the message, the message is very full of content. The video have a lot of fact. How much time do you take to make a video?
It depends, and it's something that drives me crazy because there's times when, you know, I have a thought and I can write it out, and I know the music I want to write, and I'll write it, and it takes, you know, 6-7 hours. But there's times, like I was saying this past video, where, you know, I'm trying to write a song and the creative juices just aren't flowing, and that's been an eye-opener too. You know, it's hard to put a deadline on creativity because you never want to put out something that you're not proud of. And sometimes you got to walk away and come back, you know, to get the energy going. But I would say, you know, generally it takes me about a day. If I, you know, to come up with the concept, write a song, write a script to the song, piece it all together with clips. You know, about a day.
Wow. So it's not a job, but it's a tough thing to do persistently. So it demands a lot. One day.
yeah, it is.
Creativity.
But you know, that doing it weekly. The thing that can be tough is like finding the inspiration, right? If you want to put out something with the meaning, and it's tough to be like sitting at a chair at your desk and come up with like something that I feel is worthwhile, you know, that people will enjoy and find value in. So you know, that's what makes it take time, is sometimes you got to say, all right, well, put on your running shoes, go for a run. You got to start thinking here, or walk around the block, do something, you know, so it varies. Yeah.
Wow. So you are making your videos basically in inspiration, and after that you are trying to fix a message to the audience. And that is why it's hard to say I spend this time of hours, because you have a process to inspire or to get the ideas in your head. Very cool thing. I need to make that. I need to inspire more myself.
Yeah, well, you seem like a very creative guy. I'm sure you could do some great things. You are doing some great things. I can't wait to check out your channel.
Yeah, man. Just I want to ask you another question. One moment here. You started at 2014. I don't remember.
Yeah. It took me a minute. Yeah.
It's 1 year. It's crazy, man.
I started exactly when I left, but yeah. It's been a year, a little over a year. It was like July 2014. So.
But your first video have a lot of views. It's just.
What was that?
Your first video has a lot of views. Yeah, a lot of views. 10,000. I don't remember.
I think it's about to hit 100,000. That video is ironically not ironically, but it's one of my favorites, and it's something I didn't write the music for. Like, it was very much like an intro thing, and I just kind of threw it out there. That's the first thing when I was like, hey guys, check this out, like, this is cool. And my family and friends were like, yeah, I like it, whatever. But it ended up being like one of my favorite videos, and I don't know, I think that's so funny. But yeah, that time I wasn't writing music. I think I pulled a clip from Steve Jimblowski on that one. So yeah, it all, it evolved. That was a good starting point.
A good starting point. That's right, man. No, it's crazy. Um, it's hard to me to think about just connect your creativity, being yourself, attract an audience, because it's a lot of factors, value, creativity, and you produce this, and it's very very important for me because it's an example for me. Um, uh, what do you advise to a young entrepreneur, 24 years, so like my situation? I'm a person who is in the university just doing things, but I want to make the things full time. Or what do you advise here?
The
What do you
biggest
think?
Yeah, the biggest piece of advice, and this is sort of high level advice, is I've found my best results when I let go of plan B. And what I mean by that is when you're an entrepreneur or whether you're doing any new venture, you're not 100% sure it's going to work out, right? No one is. So you kind of in your mind, you have a backup plan, and maybe you're splitting your time 50-50. But things take off when you give them 100% commitment, and I think I tweeted this the other day, but like you don't see plan A really take off until you completely let go of plan B. If you want something to be your life, if you really want to focus on something and make it happen, then put every amount of energy you have into it, again, like, because over this last year, man, so many learning points for me. Just taking that leap of faith, and yeah, a jack of all trades is a master of none, and that was something that I truly stand. So
A checkable is a truly what is
a
it?
jack of all trades is a master of none, meaning someone that's pretty good at a lot of things is not going to be excellent at any one thing. So like, if you are searching for excellence in a certain area, make that your area. Focus on it.
Focus in the thing which you love, of course, in the passionate thing, but also giving a lot of value to the people.
And so I think that wraps it up. And then obviously, I feel like there's two pieces to this. There's sort of the mindset piece, which is a lot of what we talked about, right? And then you have to be pragmatic, you have to be practical, you have to make sure from a business standpoint you're doing the right things to make sure that you can support yourself and keep evolving. So it's a balance of both. But if you don't set yourself up for success in how you're thinking about what's in front of you, it's going to be tough. So,
Wow, and just what is the more difficult situation in this in the when you started, or where not difficult, just the challenge, the biggest challenge doing this full time, or what?
so are you asking like what was the biggest challenge for me doing it full time? That's a good question. I don't know. I would have to say the uncertainty of it. That's mentally taxing when you're starting out doing something, and you're just not positive it's going to pay off. That's the toughest part. And then taking what you have, what resources you have, having the right conversations with the right people, networking, so that you can take what you have and multiply it, and start making good things happen. I think that's where everything starts. Totally lost my train of thought. 100% here. So hang on, I'm going to backtrack. You asked, what did you ask?
The biggest challenge doing full time the thing which you're
Yeah.
passionate.
Okay, sorry, man. Totally lost. So yeah, the uncertainty, taking the resources you have, and making sure that you're utilizing them in a way that kind of best puts you in the best possible position for success. Um, and networking helps with that a lot. One of the things I've learned is that a lot of the answers that you seek are within your circle, whether it be family, immediate contacts. A lot of times people you wouldn't even think to reach out and ask for advice. I got a lot of advice, a lot of support that helped me through that difficult period. Just by saying, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you have someone saying, Ed, did you try this? Did you think about this? What's your plan with A, B, and C? Because D is coming down the road, So there's certainly ways to cope with it. But yeah, the uncertainty is by far, at least in my opinion, the biggest challenge. Yeah.
How do you believe in yourself in that period? Because I think that most people do that because they don't believe in themselves. Because I don't know. You told me, how did you say I'm going to do this or I can't do this?
Yeah, I just sort of, and again, without being pretentious at all, it's just sort of the mindset that I've developed. I mean, I see myself as a winner. I feel like you can put me in any situation, and I'll figure out a way to win. Whether it's wiffle ball in the backyard or something like this. Because if you don't quit, you can't lose, and I know I won't quit. And it's so having that mentality, you really see yourself that way, and it takes a while to build up and to develop that mindset. But when you truly see yourself as a winner, when you would bet on yourself in any circumstance, there's nothing you really wouldn't do because you'd figure it out. Things aren't scary, as scary as people make them out to be. The unknown is always, like, even the little things, right? Like, there's people saying, I'm trying to think of a good example. This is a really silly example, but bear with me. Right? So someone's saying, like, they rip their shirt, and someone's saying, my shirt's ruined, I can't sew. Do you know anyone that can sew? How hard is it to pick up a needle? Like, you can go on YouTube and learn how to sew a shirt in 30 seconds. Right? It's not like some people inherently aren't capable of sewing, right? And that's a ridiculous example, but think about what it applies to, man. It applies to everything. People really sell themselves short because they don't know how to do things that aren't that hard. You just have to have faith in your ability to do it, Especially now with the tools that are available on YouTube, online. I mean, I could pull up a manual on the internet to take a car apart and put it back together. I mean, it's like everything
you told the story.
No excuse. So that's my take on that.
People sell short themselves because they just don't seek the information or the process or the steps to make the things that. What books do you recommend in order to believe more in yourself, in order to develop this mindset? Or content or videos?
Yeah, I have a lot of books. I list some of them on my website to kind of give people an idea. The biggest book for me is the Steve Jobs documentary. It's not a documentary, biography. That to me is the most powerful and applicable book that I've read, because it's just, more than anything, his mindset, his ability to turn the impossible into the possible and to know that he can do it no matter what. And there's various levels of that and various, examples throughout the entire book. But he doesn't take no for an answer. he doesn't. And, you know, he works with people that are very realistic. They're very pragmatic at first, and they say, you know, Steve, I can't get this done. And, you know, we'll find a way to get it done. And they always rise to the occasion and get it done for him. And that to me was, wow, was so eye-opening. Because I can't think of a situation that doesn't apply to, you know? So I would definitely give that one a read. But yeah, there are many others. I have, you know, I like to read a lot of different. It's not all motivational stuff I read. I like to read different. Trying to think of the word. I guess different types of books. But I think when you look at people, like biographies are particularly meaningful to me because it's examples of people that have done it. It's like having a mentor that isn't really talking to you. You're learning from everything they've done, and you're taking examples. Because it's one thing to read, you know, do A, B, and C. But if you're looking at the life of someone that implemented those, that made themselves into something spectacular, you know, by utilizing A, B, and C, it just takes it to a whole different level. So yeah, that's my answer in a nutshell.
Wow. Yeah, because it's the story. It's the living, or the troubles, and it's just step.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Mindset. Feel. Oh wow. I have a lot of content here. Steve Jobs. Oh. What? I don't know. Man. I don't know what more. I want to ask you just something, but I don't have the words. Sorry about that, man.
It's not a problem, man. It's fine.
Yes, I want to say that your words very nice, and I want to say that thank you for this space, man. And just I love your video. I like a lot of your videos. It's like a motivation to make do the things which you love, and also serve to others. And just thanks, man. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you taking the time to chat. This has been fun. It really has. So.
Yeah. Of course. Just there's a survey, and just each to one each other. I send to you. Thanks again for this call, man. And the thing which I learned more was just the no. A lot of people say no. Of course, I have this idea, but but this, and this. And you say that the thing about the Steve Jobs is it's very easy to say no.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Because they just took a lot of more job and work and a lot of things. It is. Thanks again, man.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Take care.
Goodbye, and maybe 1 year later we can speak again. Huh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anytime.
Again, thank you.
And good luck with your YouTube channel, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Aquí en el Zambrano, ya llegué a hacer ejercicio hace un buen rato, ya edité el video, ya lo veo, bueno, ya casi está listo. Y finalmente te pido que hagas 3 cosas. Primero es que me escribas qué te pareció la entrevista y a quién quieres ver la próxima vez. También te quiero preguntar si te gusta el esquema un poco informal que manejamos en este canal ahora de entrevistar a personas. Y también te quiero invitar a que visites el canal de Eddie, motivación en inglés de World Within You, va a aparecer en la descripción del video, haces clic y te envía directamente a su canal. Y finalmente, si quieres hablar con poder, va a aparecer una nueva parte para hacer clic aquí en la pantalla, smartphones en una esquina superior derecha o izquierda, no me acuerdo muy bien. Dejas tus datos, te llegan a tu correo videos para hablar con poder. Y ya, amigos, eso es todo. Gracias por escucharnos y nos vemos a la próxima. Chao, chao.
¿Sigues aquí?